Your phone is watching you right now. Not in a science fiction way, not hypothetically, right now. Even if the screen is off, even if you did nothing wrong. And the most disturbing part is not that this might be happening. It's how quietly everyone seems to accept it. Every day, billions of people wake up and reach for the same object. A thin piece of glass and metal that knows where you are, who you talk to, what you search, what you fear, and what you believe. We are told this is convenience. We are told this is innovation. But buried deep inside the modern smartphone is something far less discussed. A hidden layer that does not belong to apps, settings, or even the operating system you think you control. An access point designed not for you, but for someone else. The idea of a surveillance backdoor sounds extreme, almost paranoid. That reaction is understandable. For years, the term backdoor has been associated with hackers, criminals, and conspiracy forums. But what if the most powerful backdoors were never illegal, never hidden from engineers, and never intended to be secret forever? What if they were built into the system from the very beginning, quietly justified as necessary, lawful, and unavoidable? The silence surrounding this architecture is not an accident. It is a design choice. To understand the depth of this mystery, we have to look past the icons on your home screen and dive into the physical reality of the silicon chips hidden beneath the glass. There is a ghost in the machine, and it has been there since the day your device was manufactured. In 2013, leaked documents showed the world something many suspected, but few could prove. Intelligence agencies were not just intercepting communications. They were working directly with technology companies, not always willingly, not always publicly. These documents hinted at privileged access to data streams, metadata, and infrastructure. What they did not clearly explain was how deep that access went, or whether it ever truly ended. We were led to believe these programs were temporary measures or targeted operations. But as the years passed, the technology became more integrated, not less. The line between a consumer product and a surveillance terminal began to blur until it vanished entirely. We stopped asking if we were being watched because the answer became too heavy to carry. Modern smartphones are not just phones. They are complex stacks of software and hardware layers. Above the operating system you interact with, there are firmware components that never appear on your screen. One of them is the Baseband Processor. It controls cellular communication. It runs its own code. It cannot be easily inspected. And most importantly, it has direct access to the microphone, location data, and network traffic. Security researchers have repeatedly admitted something uncomfortable. They cannot fully audit it. This secondary processor is essentially a computer within your computer, operating with its own secret operating system that has higher privileges than yours. It can see everything the phone does, yet you cannot see anything it does. It is the ultimate silent partner in your digital life. Manufacturers insist this separation is necessary. Without it, phones would not function, calls would drop, networks would fail. And yet, this same component has been shown to accept commands outside the control of the main operating system, commands that users cannot see, block, or even detect. When asked whether governments can access this layer, answers become vague, carefully worded, technically correct, but emotionally empty. This creates a terrifying technical reality where your phone can be off to you, but on for someone else. A remote signal can wake the sensors, activate the transmission, and turn a private room into a public broadcast, all while the screen remains pitch black and cold to the touch. Then there are the legal frameworks, laws that allow governments to demand lawful access to devices, not through visible apps or user permissions, but through silent compliance. In some countries, companies are forbidden from disclosing the exact nature of these requests. They cannot confirm backdoors exist. They also cannot deny they have built mechanisms to comply. The silence itself becomes part of the story. Consider the implications of a gag order on an entire industry. If a backdoor was mandated by a national security letter, the engineers who built it would be legally barred from telling you it exists. You are trusting a system that is legally obligated to deceive you if it is ever compromised by the state. Some engineers have spoken anonymously about the golden key problem. They describe features that look like maintenance tools, diagnostics, or emergency access. Tools that can be activated remotely. Tools that bypass normal security layers. They insist these are not spying tools, just safeguards. But safeguards for whom? And under what circumstances do they activate? Those questions rarely receive clear answers. In the world of high-level cybersecurity, a diagnostic tool is often just a polite name for a vulnerability that hasn't been exploited yet. If a technician can remote into your device to fix a software bug, what stops a third party from using that same digital bridge to walk right into your private life? Apple says it cannot unlock your phone. Google says privacy is a priority. Yet updates arrive monthly, sometimes weekly, changing code you will never read. Permissions shift. Behaviors change. A microphone activates briefly without explanation. A location ping appears with no app open. These incidents are usually dismissed as bugs. But when bugs happen to billions of devices, at what point do they stop being accidents? Every time your phone updates, you are essentially inviting an unknown quantity of new code into your pocket. You have no choice but to accept it. To refuse the update is to lose functionality, but to accept it is to hand over the keys to a house you no longer own. The most unsettling cases come from security researchers who tried to monitor their own devices. They found unexplained network traffic leaving phones even when idle. Encrypted packets sent to servers they could not identify. Attempts to block them caused system instability. The phone resisted being silenced, almost as if it was designed to ensure certain communications always go through. These researchers describe a feeling of fighting against their own hardware. They find heartbeat signals, tiny bursts of data sent out every few minutes that bypass even the most aggressive firewalls. These signals aren't for your apps. They aren't for your cloud backup. They are a constant check-in with a master system that never stops listening. Governments argue that access is necessary to prevent terrorism, organized crime, and national security threats. Many citizens agree. The problem is not the intention. The problem is the lack of visibility. Once a system exists, it does not ask who deserves it. It only asks who has access. History has shown that tools built for safety rarely stay confined to their original purpose. We are building a global infrastructure of total transparency, but only for the citizens, never for the watchers. If everyone is a suspect until proven otherwise, then the smartphone is not a tool of liberation. It is a digital ankle monitor that we paid for with our own money. There is also the question of who else might find these doors. A backdoor for authorities is still a backdoor. If discovered, it can be exploited by others. Hackers, foreign intelligence agencies, private contractors. Every hidden access point becomes a potential vulnerability. Yet removing them is described as impossible, impractical, or dangerous. This is the great paradox of modern security. We are told that to be safe from bad actors, we must leave a door unlocked for the good actors. But in the digital world, a door is a door. If it exists for a detective, it exists for a predator. We are living in a house where the locks are designed to fail on command, and we are told this makes us more secure. Some countries have openly demanded weakened encryption. Others deny it while passing laws that quietly achieve the same effect. The public conversation remains shallow. We debate screen time, addiction, and battery life, while ignoring the deeper architecture that defines who ultimately controls the device in your pocket. The hardware itself is becoming a black box. Even if you were a master coder, you cannot read the instructions etched into the physical layers of the processor. You cannot verify that the silicon itself hasn't been altered at the foundry level. We have reached a point where the physical reality of our devices is a state secret, protected by patents, trade secrets, and national security laws. Perhaps the most disturbing possibility is not that surveillance exists, but that it has become invisible. Normalized, accepted as the price of modern life. The idea of a private device now feels almost outdated. When convenience becomes dependency and dependency becomes infrastructure, questioning it starts to feel pointless. We have been conditioned to believe that if we have nothing to hide, we have nothing to fear. But privacy isn't about having something to hide. It's about having something to protect. It's about the right to be an individual, outside the gaze of a system that categorizes, predicts, and ultimately controls your behavior based on data you didn't even know you were giving away. Consider the data brokers, the invisible entities that buy and sell the digital ghosts of your life. They know where you sleep, where you work, and who you love. They get this information through the same channels that the hidden backdoors utilize. It is a massive, multi-billion-dollar ecosystem built on the premise that your life is a product. The backdoor isn't just for spies, it's for the highest bidder. Whether it's a government agency looking for a threat or a corporation looking for a customer, the result is the same. You are being dissected into data points, and your smartphone is the primary tool used to perform the surgery. So the question remains unresolved. Is there a hidden surveillance backdoor in every smartphone? Or is the truth more subtle? A system so complex, so legally protected, and so deeply embedded that no single person can fully explain it anymore. Maybe that is the real issue. Not that someone is watching, but that no one can confidently say they are not. The ambiguity is the weapon. As long as we aren't sure, we remain cautious. As long as we remain cautious, we are controlled. We live in a world where the most intimate device we own is also the most untrustworthy. It sits on our nightstands, accompanies us to our meetings, and hears our most private whispers. And tonight, when your phone lights up for no reason, when it warms in your pocket without explanation, when it knows where you are before you tell it, remember this. The most powerful surveillance systems in history were not built in secret bunkers. They were built in plain sight, sold as convenience, and welcomed into our lives one upgrade at a time. You are holding the most sophisticated tracking device ever created, and you are charging it every night. The backdoor isn't something you can just close. It is a fundamental part of the foundation. And as the screen fades to black, the only thing truly hidden is the identity of the person on the other side of the glass, watching you, watching them.